One of the most popular attractions this year is this unbelievable display of 67 Z28 Camaros. The Chevrolet Camaro Z28 is definitely one of the milestone muscle cars ever made, and there's a great display here at the 2017 Musclecar and Corvette Nationals, but it's kind of headlined by your car, the Sunoco car. Patrick, tell me about this car.
Well, this is the second Sunoco Camaro built by the Roger Penske, Mark Donohue team. They built 6 total, 2 each year in 67, 68, and 69. So this car happened to be the second Z28 to come off of the assembly line in January of 1967 when they started building Z28s. The car to its immediate right is the first car that came off the line.
Incredible.
The first 25 cars were intended for racers. So when they built the Z28, it was so they would have a 302 cubic inch motor to homologate for Trans Am. So this car actually happened to go to Terry Godsaw first, and it was raced in the first 5 races by Craig Fisher, his driver. Then Craig joined the Penske team, and so did his car, and it was used in the second half of the 67 season by Mark Donohue. He won the last 2 races of the year, which was at Las Vegas and Kent, which is near Seattle. And then they resurrected this car. It had already gone back to Terry Godsaw at the end of the season, but they needed a second car for the Sebring race, which was the second season of 68. This car went back, was dressed like a 68 car. It has the 68 grille, 68 taillights. They left the vent windows on it, which is how you can tell a 67 from a 68. And so this car became Mark Donohue's car for Sebring, but it was 250 pounds underweight. So Mark wrote a great book called The Unfair Advantage, and in the book he reveals how they snuck this car into the race. They had their all-new 68, which is here at the show as well. It had been fully acid dipped, the body in white, but they added back the weight to make it weigh 3,000 pounds. This weighed 2,750. And in 68, they started weighing the cars. So in order to get this car into the race, they swapped the numbers between the 2 cars.
Oh, no way.
Yes. So this car never went to technical inspection, and the other car went twice.
But then they raced this one.
This car was a 1.5 seconds faster, and in the book, Mark's talking to Roger and saying, that was so easy to put one over on those guys. Why don't we do it in qualifying? So they had a hangar that they had rented at Sebring. They papered over the windows, and there was a 1-hour qualifying session. So in the middle of the qualifying session, both cars came in. They had roundels with rivets. They popped the rivets off, switched the numbers, sent the cars back out. So this car qualified for both.
Awesome. See, and there's so many things that are cool about the Trans Am era. First of all, these are cars that are recognizable. You know, this is obviously Camaro. It's not like a NASCAR today that's a template, you know. Next, the innovation of the parts choices and the power these things made and the way they made essentially off-the-shelf factory parts perform, you know, using the parts boxes and swapping stuff from different cars. But then there's the whole racing aspect and some of the racing interpretations of the rules, if you will, that they employed to make this stuff happen. Fascinating stuff.
For sure.
So these things lived a rough life. I mean, how is it that the cars are still here?
Well, the history of this car went back to Canada at the end of the 68 Sebring race. Craig Fisher raced it some in Canada. It was then sold to their Canadian sponsor. It's called Gagnon Springs. They raced it for a year. It was sold to another Canadian racer, an independent. He raced it till 72. They put it in a warehouse at San Air Track, which his brother owned, and it sat there till 85. And a vintage racer named Jack Bockstrom found the car in San Air, recognized it as a Penske car, restored it as it looked to 67, and then with one intermediary. I bought the car in 1988. I've now raced it about 240 events.
Awesome.
So I've been racing it for the last 28 years. This is the 5th restoration.
Nice.
2 of which weren't because of wrecks.
Yeah. But maybe a couple were.
A couple were. The majority of the car is as it was, but I've got a lot of original pieces that are on the wall.
Sure, and that's cool. They've earned their place there too,
right,
which is kind of fun.
The lightweight left front panel is crinkled up and on the wall, but it's very lightweight.
Yeah, I bet. Well, listen, man, we really appreciate bringing this car out. In the Musclecar Corvette Nationals, there's a lot of stock cars, a lot of restored cars. I think we need some more of the racing history of these cars, and I'm so glad you brought one out that is just like an over-the-moon story. I mean, it doesn't get any more rock solid than the Sunoco Camaro, so very cool.
Happy to be here.
Thank you, sir.